maybe I can have my own questions too.
Yeah, great. Perfect. That would be wonderful. The questions are always the best part.
I'm afraid if we'll be really having any time in the end. I'm not sure why Dr. Martin is not able to join, and maybe we'll start so that we don't run out of time in the end. When she joins, I will take a quick pause to or maybe at the end of your session, I will introduce her.
Sure.
I think we can start now.
We're
Or
still not hearing you very well.
I really don't know how to fix it. I don't even see any option which can help me with this, but does this change anything? No.
Say something.
That's really sad because I tried to make sure everything is just fine, but I don't know why it was. So I'll try to be a little louder. Will that
That's
help?
better.
Yeah,
That is better.
that is
Yeah.
something in my thinking. So 3:05, and I think we should start with the session. So when
Sure.
Dr. Martin can join us. Okay. So first, I will like to welcome you to this Women Economic Forum Global Digital Summit 2020. And I'm Kalpana Chauhan. I'm moderator for today's session on the topic stereotypes, mindsets, and silent oppressors. Well, we are very privileged to have you here with us, Megan. And I would like to introduce you in a short way. Uh, Megan Della Camina, who is the founder and CEO of Women Rising and the Women Rising Leadership Institute. Megan is a sought after strategist, thought leader, and researcher on women's leadership. So I really welcome you, Megan, and without wasting any time, I'd really love to hear your thoughts on this such an important subject. So over to you, Megan.
Thank you so much, Kalpana. I appreciate that. And so wonderful to be here. It's such an honor to be able to be here. I've been invited many times to speak, but because of travel, haven't been able to do it. So this is actually perfect. So I hope everyone is safe and well as we talk about this very important topic, which is very near and dear to my heart. And I'll share some perspectives around stereotypes, mindsets, and silent oppressors that I see in my work in women's leadership and working with thousands and thousands of women around the world and hundreds of men as well. And you know, what I see in my experience of the leadership work I do now with Women Rising, but also 2 decades working in big corporates and corporate America around the world, such as IBM and GE and PricewaterhouseCoopers. So the first aspect, stereotypes. The 2 big stereotypes that I find from my research that can harm women's success, however women want to determine that for themselves. The first one is around leadership and what is a good leader and what does a successful leader look like today. And I find that in so many businesses and organizations, governments around the world, we're still working to quite an outdated model of what a good and successful leader looks like. And unfortunately, for women, that can really fight against the gender norms that we see of what a good leader looks like, because often we're still talking in very masculine terms. And from research that we've seen all around the world, it's not what people want from their leaders today. We don't want this masculine command and control hierarchical model of leadership anymore. We want to see a balance of, you know, feminine and masculine traits in our leaders and more humanity in our leadership, which bodes very well for women's more natural inclinations And we need to shift those stereotypes so that, you know, women can embody their authenticity at work and in leadership, whether they're running their own businesses, whether they're political leaders, whether they're in organizations. So that's the first piece around stereotypes. And, you know, the other side of that is around gender norms and how women should behave at work and in business, how women should behave as leaders, and the impact on success. And we've all heard about the double bind, you know, where there's this double bind for women around when women step into roles and behaviours that aren't perceived as what the good woman looks like. Women are penalised for that. And that certainly can have a massive impact on business success and leadership success. So changing leadership and gender norms and stereotypes, I see in my work, has a significant impact. Again, whether a woman is an entrepreneur, in business, in government, and creating environments where those stereotypes are taken out and we've changed them, and women can step into that more authentic style of operating and authentic style of leadership. So that's a reflection around stereotypes. Around mindsets, there's two major pieces of work I do around mindset. And one is working with Professor Carol Dweck's work around fixed and growth mindsets. And the other one is a framework that I developed with my business partner in a company called Lead Like a Woman, and in a book called Lead Like a Woman, called Gender Mindsets. And that's where we look at what are the mindsets that women show up with at work, in their business, in leadership today. And we've identified three core mindsets from this work. The first is when women show up with a gender is negative mindset, which is, I'm going to be negatively impact at work, in my business, in my leadership, with the opportunities that are available to me because I am a woman. The second mindset that we identified is that gender is neutral. And this is where I sat for a long period of my corporate career, which was, I don't believe my gender has any impact on my success, my opportunities, one way or the other. And I felt like that until I hit sort of my first general management role, and then my eyes were opened to what, you know, to some of the actual challenges that were going on. And the third mindset is mindset number 3, which is gender is positive. My gender, my feminine traits are things that not only add value to the work that I do, but are seen to be significant traits that add value to the work that I do. Unfortunately, in all of the work that I've done over 2 decades and with thousands and thousands of women, the majority of women are either in that gender is neutral mindset number 2, or they're in gender mindset number 1, my gender is negative. And we still to this day, unfortunately, with all of the progress that has been made, see far too few women in that category of gender mindset number 3. My gender is positive, I can show up authentically, my feminine traits are here to be valued and respected. And you know, that is where we see shifts, you know, as we do the work that we do. The third piece here is that I want to mention is around the silent oppressors, and 2 significant aspects here. And the first is around bias, and that's the bias that we all have. Doesn't matter our gender, doesn't matter our role, we all show up with bias, but we know from all of the research and work that the way that our biases, conscious and unconscious, impact women at work, in business, you know, whether it's entrepreneurs getting venture capital, whether it's women and the gaps that we still see all the way through organizations, that those biases are still silent oppressors, and we're still not doing enough to address them. And then the other side of that for women, certainly the women that I work with, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in India, in China, in the US, or in Australia, is this whole piece around the inner critic and imposter syndrome, that are silent oppressors that when we give voice to, when we start unpacking what is going on with our inner critic, with our inner dialogue, with our stories, and when we have the tools and strategies to really address those things, that we see significant shifts and moves forward for women, individually and also in the collective. So they're the three aspects that I wanted to share some reflections on. You know, I do see in the work that we do, again, it really irrespective of country, nationality, age, you know, any of the demographic aspects, that we are seeing shifts, but we need to give voice to these topics. We need to bring awareness to what's really sitting at the core of a lot of these issues, and move past, you know, conversations or strategies that are looking for silver bullets, and really get to the core of this work for us as women, and how we create these powerful shifts for ourselves, whilst we are also trying to create the systemic changes in society, within our cultures, in our businesses, and in our governments and communities. So yeah, it all fits together, and it's exciting work. And I'm just so pleased to be here with you all. And I'd love to see if there's any questions or discussion that we can have in the time that we have left.
Thank you so much, Kamina, for those insights. We'll come to the questions in the last, and let me now quickly move on to our next speaker. I'm very excited to introduce Dr. Aurora Martin, who is Aurora. I'm sure you can hear me.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I'm sure you can hear me, right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, so Dr. Aurora Martin is a senior advisor in international relations within the Romanian government and parliament on behalf of National Agency for Equal Opportunities, Ministry of Labour and Social Protection, and National Council for Combating Discrimination, Romania. I welcome you, Dr. Martin, and without wasting a single minute, let's hear your thoughts on the subject, which is very important for us as women: stereotypes, mindsets, and silent oppressors.
Thank you so much, and congratulations for my previous speaker. Stereotype and oppressors. At a certain time, each of us experienced one of these situations: to be stereotyped or to stereotype. That's why there are so many slants to this question of stereotypes, mindset, and silent oppressor, and many ways to approach answering it. But in very general terms, a mindset can be a personal state of mental being. For example, I know if I show up to my bootcamp workout with the right mindset, a positive mindset, an optimistic mindset, I will get a great workout. Stereotypes, on the other hand, are widely held but fixed and oversimplified images of or ideas of a particular type of person or thing, like those who practice a certain religious or of a certain ethnic background or from a particular region. Thus, stereotypes can influence or contribute to one's mindset towards the people or things the stereotypes are defining. For example, if a restaurant server subscribes to the stereotype that women dinners are poor tippers, their mindset may be negatively bent toward women dinner, that women don't deserve good services. That's the mindset dictates their behavior towards the women dinners. The origin of stereotyping comes, of course, from early childhood, where we absorb a lot of generic language. For example, over 40% of the words we hear before the age of 6 are generic category type statements that start with generalized grouping like boys are in a certain way, kids don't do something. This is helpful, of course, for our young brains to navigate the world more easily. But the issue is that if we don't also get exposed to highly diverse data and personalized encounters from many different types of people, this generalizing leads to what is called essentialist thinking, that groups of people are homogeneously and invariant. Well, research has shown that when people are primed with essentialist statements like scientists prove the generic underpinning of intelligence, they are less like to protest inequality, because in that paradigm, nothing can be done for those people. Stanford's neurological studies also emphasize the importance of using non-generic language. In this book, in this study, show that when people are primed with words to make groups of people homogeneous and invariant, they are more likely to be to accept the inequality. Stereotypes can impact people in more ways than we may anticipate. We notice or not, it happened to anyone. There is evidence that the fear of living up to a certain stereotype can affect the way we act or perform without us even knowing. It's a commonly researched concept in psychology known as stereotype threat, and it refers to the risk of confirming a negative stereotype about a group to which you belong, or the risk of not conforming to a positive stereotype about a group which you belong. I refer to a study of Black college students' performance on standardized tests when their race was and was not emphasized before the test. They defined stereotype threats as a social psychological predicament that can arise from widely known negative stereotypes about one's group. The existence of such a stereotype meant that anything sorry, my cat came here and distracted me. The existence of such a stereotype meant that anything one does or any of one's features that conform to it make that stereotype more plausible as a self-characterization in the eyes of others, and perhaps even in one's own eyes. We argue that it is experienced essentially as a self-evaluate threat. When the allegation of the stereotype are importantly negative, this predicament may be self-threatening enough to have disruptive effects on its own. In this study, the author found the Black college students perform more poorly on standardized tests than white students when their race was emphasized. When race was not emphasized, however, Black students performed better than equivalently with white students. The results show that performance in academic context can be harmed by the awareness that one's behavior might be viewed through the lens of racial stereotypes. Research has shown that stereotype threat can harm the academic performance of any individual from whom the situation invokes a stereotypes-based expectation of poor performance. Everyone belongs to at least one group that is characterized by some sort of stereotype. When one views on self in terms of salient group membership, for example, I am a woman, women are not expected to be good at math. this is a difficult math test. Performance can be undetermined because of the concerns about possibly confirming negative stereotypes about one's group. We can highlight also the possible implication of stereotype threats on women's bifurcation of feminine identity as a response to threatening stereotypes in the domain of mathematics. The focus, immediate concern with math identification and gender, consider the plight of a young woman, for example, who wins admission to an elite college on the basis of math and quantitative science grades she achieved in high school, the recommendation of her teachers, and her performance on standardized tests. Once in college, she inevitably experiences the same pressures faced by all prospective math majors or who encounter more rigorous courses and stiffer competition than they had faced in high school. However, she faces additional burdens. She becomes increasingly aware that characteristics commonly associated with her gender, ranging from concern with hair and makeup to willingness to consider future career interruptions in order to have children, make her prospects as a successful math major and future mathematician suspect to her classmates and to her professors. She soon recognizes that the interest she evidences to her personal appearance and her frankness in acknowledging the challenges of balancing family and career concerns are seen as counter-diagnostic with respect to success in math-related fields. When she walks into the math classroom or into her math professor's office hours, or chat with her math study group, she feels heightened anxiety about the prospect of negative judgment due to these aspects of her female identity. To reduce this discomfort and anxiety, she may stop wearing makeup at least on days when she has to meet with her professor, or is likely to be scrutinized by her male peers. When hanging out and chatting with friends who belong to her math study group, she may avoid the topic of having children. However, even at these moments, she continues to value her overall identity as a woman and see herself as a possessor of valued but stereotypically feminine characteristics, such as social sensitivity, that she neither sees nor expects her math peers to see as counter-diagnostic of math success. Moreover, outside of such settings, when her math ability is less under scrutiny and she is less subject of stereotype threats, she may identify freely with all the feminine threats that she values, and even with ones that she does not particularly value, but nevertheless acknowledge as an aspect of herself. Many studies have found that stereotype threats can impact our performance in many different situations, including memory tests. Although stereotype threats effects appear to be robust, the specific mechanism by which the stereotype threat harms performance is still not entirely clear. This ambiguity likely reflects that fact that stereotype threats probably produce several different consequences, each of which can contribute to decreased performance. For example, speculated that distraction, narrowed attention, anxiety, self-conscious, withdrawal of effort, or even over effort might all play a role. It's almost impossible to talk about belonging without talking about stereotypes. while everyone experiences
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Martin, but I think I have to come in here. We are a little tight on the schedule, so I request you to kindly conclude.
excuse me?
We are a little tight on the schedule, so I'll just request you to kindly conclude because we are a little
Okay.
tight on time.
So I have to wrap up, yes? Okay, so while everyone experiences worries about belonging, these feelings are especially prevalent and have more of a negative impact for people who belong to groups about which negative stereotypes exist in a given environment. I shall stop here, and if we have time, we can continue during the Q&A session. Thank you.
Well, I think we don't have time for the Q&A session now, so I will quickly have to wrap it up. I'm sorry, I know this topic cannot be done justice in such a short time, but I really thank you, both of you, for giving us your valuable time, and it was a really wonderful session, and I have many, many questions. I'll reach out to you maybe personally. Now I have an announcement to make. I'm thrilled to announce the Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All award that is being conferred at the Global Digital Summit of Women Economic Forum to Megan Della Camina as a recognition for the outstanding work that you have been doing. Congratulations, Megan. And I'm equally thrilled to announce this Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All award to Dr. Aurora Martin at this Global Digital Summit of Women Economic Forum as a recognition for the extraordinary work that you ladies have been doing and inspiring many women across the globe. So, and since it is a digital format, the award is also digital and it will reach your mailbox probably.
Thank you so much.
Further details will be communicated to you. Thank you so much for giving us all your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Iliada.
Hello, Kalpana. It's nice to meet you. I have to say a very big thank you to Women Economic Forum for giving me this opportunity. And I am connected to India because I was writing to an Indian magazine. So I love the country. And I wish one day I will come and I will stay for a lot of months to enjoy the country. Thank you very much.
That's so nice of you, and we really love to host you here in India. And I'll definitely make it a point to meet you whenever you are here. We'll all be so obliged. I think we are waiting for the other speaker. Nita is joining, I think.
Okay.
I can see her name popping up on the screen.
Hi, Kalpana, can you hear me?
Hi, Nita, we can hear you, but we cannot see you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to check my video. Give me a moment.
No problem. So while you're coming to the video, I'll just start because the time is of essence here. So I'll welcome both of you to this Women Economic Forum Global Digital Summit 2020. And I'm Kalpana Chauhan. I'm moderating this session for the topic, Ethical Business Model. How putting ethics first will supercharge your business. So I'm so happy. I'm sure this topic will bring a lot of insight. And we are very privileged to have the two very accomplished speakers with us to share their thoughts on the topic. I would like to introduce our first speaker for today, Iliada Evangelia Kotra, who is founder of www.livingpostcards.com, founder of Don't Accept It Challenge campaign in Greece, and she is also a business digital consultant, copywriter, brand strategist, author, and speaker. I'll introduce the next speaker also, who's Neeta Rajendran. A very big welcome to both of you. Neeta Rajendran is a highly accomplished investment banker. With over 2 decades of expertise in handling the wealth portfolios of several India's millionaires, and her career spans across organizations like Barclays, ICICI Securities, Kotak, Max Life Insurance, and many more.
Come back.
So I really welcome you both, and I can't wait to really give the mic to you. And you have 10 minutes each, and depending on the time left, in the end, we'll try to take it then some questions.
Tell them.
So over to you, Iliada.
Okay. I was wondering, because I was working with a lot of brands and companies for all those years, why ethics are so important for business. Because, you know, there's a stereotype that if you are an ethical brand owner, if you are if you're someone with moral values and you run a business or a brand, that means that you will never have money. That means that you are sensitive. That means that you are a loser. So there is nothing more false and wrong about that. I can see Nita too. Hello, good speakers. So during all those years, and especially the last months with the COVID-19, we had a lot of examples of brands and companies that they were very ethical about their own employees and about their consumers, their customers. And that made me think that ethical is it's something that a business must has above everything. So I came up with a few reasons why an owner or a brand must have an ethical image. Not only about being nice to the people, but to gain more profits in the long way. So if you have a brand and a company and you have an ethical kind of strategy, that attracts more employees. It's very important because people want to work in companies that they feel appreciated, that their opinions are valued by their employees, and they want to know in the end of the day that they did something right, not only for them, but for the society. It's not a cliche, this is very important, because we don't work only for money, we work also for mental reasons. An ethical business attracts more investors. An investor wants to know if their money are put in a safe way. They don't want to lose money. They don't want to jeopardize their own investment. So they're looking for business and companies that they are really ethical. Ethics brings more reliable partnerships. Partnerships are very crucial because they help expand your marketplace and improve your own relations. Everybody wants to work with a brand or make a new collaboration when they both know that there are some basically moral values. It's very necessary for someone to work in a place that there is an ethical point of view, because an ethical environment provides equal work. There's no discriminations. There's no gender, issues. So everyone feels that he is appreciated, no matter the color, no matter if he's a woman or man. Okay, this is very important in the new world we're living. The customers feel more confident and they are very loyal to a brand when they know that this brand has an ethical roots. I remember a few months ago, I learned about a very, very big food brand in Greece that during all those months of lockdown, 24/7, they were helping their own employees by psychologists in order their employees to feel nice, to still feel appreciated, even they were working from home. So immediately that made me buy their products because in my mind, they had the image of an ethical brand, which for me is very, very important. if you are an ethical brand, that brings healthy competitions. I remember when I was younger, that I was working in a very big firm. One day a manager called and trying to find me because I was spreading in the market good news about our competitor. So people appreciate when you say nice things to them, even if you are in the same field, because when what you give, what you get. That's a karma law, and there is also in the business. For me, the most important is that you gain a very nice reputation. Your brand gains reputation, not only for the moment that you are running the company, but for the next generations too. People always remember who was ethical, always remember when a brand was next to the consumers in a bad situation, just like COVID. People never forget, especially today when we have social media, everything is in the air. So it's very important to protect our reputation and have an ethical strategy. That brings a lot of money in the end. This is very important. We can have a lot of business, a lot of brands, but without ethics, we will never take the long way. Okay, we will be in a short way of living in our business. This is my point of view. It's not a cliche. It's something that all companies should try to have in their marketing strategies. I don't know if you're welcome.
Thank you, Ilyada, for those. Yes, yes. I really thank you for the insight that you've brought in. And I quickly bring now Neeta to share her perspective. Yes, Neeta, over to you.
Hi, hello everyone. First of all, hope all's well with you and your families during this pandemic. And thank you. And so the topic which I have chosen is very close to my heart, something which I have always followed throughout my career, personally as well as professionally. So ethical business model, or how putting ethics can supercharge your business. That's definitely worked for me. So I would like to quote Ratan Tata from Tata Group of Companies, what he said in a recent interview, that making money is not bad. It's how you make it is what is important. The question is, are you doing the right thing? Are you adding value to your stakeholders, your employees, your all brand ambassadors of the company, and how ethical your journey has been? So I believe personally that each one of us is ethical at some level. But the problem comes when, we are faced with conflicting situation and we have to make a choice. And in the face of that, how or what is the path we follow? So this can be applied to every profession, every industry. I would like to cover this ethical business practice and how it can be lead to a profitable journey through my career of handling the customer portfolios over a career spanning 20 years now. So throughout my career, I have kept some few basic principles which I have always followed individually for myself, as well as for my team members as a leader, where which has worked for me and which I think is very important for everybody. So first is always put the customer interest first. So while in financial planning, there are jargons and technical things which you have to do in terms of following a financial process of need analysis, risk profiling, due diligence, portfolio allocation, portfolio reviews. So while that has to be done, but when it comes to a customer, we have to keep it, first thing is keep it simple. Instead of going into jargons and asset classes, basically what a customer wants to know is, if I have invested this much money, what is the return on investment? I had invested X amount, what is it? It has grown to. So that is first thing, without confusing them. Second thing is maintain complete transparency in terms of explaining what are the charges involved. Is there an exit load? What is the past performance of the funds which you're recommending to them? Is it market linked? That means, does it get invested into equity markets, or are there guaranteed returns? Are there any risk involved? What is the minimum tenure of investment? That means, if we are doing, say, an investment product in insurance, what is the minimum number of years of payment it has to be done? Third is maintain complete confidentiality. So this is something which I follow even within spouses, because over the years, what I've realized is sometimes even within spouses, husband and wife, they maintain their balances or portfolios separately. So complete confidentiality of their investments should not be disclosed to anybody other than the investor, whether it's a spouse, family, friends, siblings, colleagues. The reason is my business has grown through referrals of my happy, satisfied customers. So, when somebody refers, say, a colleague or a family or a friend, they will not be happy if you're sharing their investment details with any of their relatives or colleagues. So, maintaining confidentiality is very important. And fourth would be track the portfolios regularly. You cannot suggest something and leave it. I mean, disappear after. That's something very common which I hear when somebody raises a complaint of somebody. Um, Track the portfolios regularly, because there might be changes within the customer's finances. There might be an addition in the family. There might be a promotion they have got. There might be situations like the current one where, it might be unfortunate case of job loss, or there might be government regulations because of which there might be some changes needed in the portfolio. So suggest changes only if it is needed in these situations, not for the sake of, as we use in financial jargon, churning the portfolio. Every time you do a fresh investment, the organization or the relationship manager earns fresh money, but the client has to bear the cost of, say, a exit load kind of thing. So suggest a change only if it's needed. And most important is the after sale service. Normally we see that, the marketing professionals are very enthusiastic when you're buying something or doing a fresh investment. But when it comes to, say, it's just maybe a tax certificate, or they want to remove the money. So that enthusiasm is somehow missing. But that has to be maintained irrespective of what is the situation. All these good services add up to building your credibility and trust. The next principle which I followed is, if it is right for me, it's right for my customer. Simply put, if I am suggesting a product or service to my customers, will I invest or put my hard-earned money into that investment? If the answer is right, then it is a right advisory, I feel. In the sense, I feel, in fact, you have to be more careful when you're dealing with customer finances, more than your personal finance. It's a responsibility. And you have to do a lot of due diligence, homework in terms of finding whether that product, there will be, say, for a portfolio management, there'll be 23 players who will be offering. But is that the right one for the client in the industry? So that has to be recommended. If it's right for you, if you would do it for your clients. And third point would be conflict of profitability versus responsibility. Now, whenever we are working for an organization, we have to maintain a balance between the organization interest and the customer interest. So as we all know, every organization is driven by targets. They're tied up with certain products or services, and they tend to push those products where they get the higher margin or higher revenue. I mean, even I'm sure most of you must be aware that even hospitals have targets for their doctors. How much you recommend to the next doctor or the next treatment. So I remember a person who went for a knee pain was recommended to a dermatologist. Those kind of things. Or if we go to a showroom to buy a fridge or TV, we'll find some salesman pushing some brand, which we don't see much value, but maybe they are getting a higher percentage of revenue there. So what happens is, when you are dealing with such targets, ultimately they will push their employees, and then in turn employees tend to push those products where they earn higher revenues, higher incentives. So this cycle leads to a lot of mis-selling, wrong advisory, which may not be right for the client. You might get a higher revenue, but your customer is not going to benefit from that. So as a individual as well as a leader, I have ensured that there has to be always a balance. Maybe you may not earn higher revenues from that product which you're giving to the client, but in the long run, you will definitely make incentives, be more profitable, because it's very transparent now. The information is available at fingertips. On if you do a search, people can check what you're advising is right or wrong. And if they know that your advisory is right, they will be referring more and more clients to you. They will, whenever they want to invest or want something in finance, first thing is they'll think of you. That is one point. Now, another thing is there is never a shortcut or compromise in life for achieving success. It has always been that you have to, do the right thing to achieve. Maybe you will reach there a bit late, but when you reach there, you will reach there very handsomely. Now, there are things like constructive feedback which have to be encouraged. I mean, there are organizations like Facebook, Google, Apple, where we see that they reward people for finding bugs in them. But at the same time, if I have to translate the same thing, there are so-called problematic clients who raise a lot of questions. But if I have taken it as a constructive feedback always, because these are clients who genuinely have a issue. If you cater to that, they will be the customers for lifetime. And ethical organizations like Iliada also mentioned in detail, lot of points she covered will definitely lead to lot of supercharging your business. There will be a better branding amongst all the stakeholders, not just employees. Your employees are not given importance as such, but I feel they are your brand ambassadors. So employees, customers, your channel partners, there'll be better productivity from employees because they know they're working for a fair and transparent organization, who ethical organization which has their interest in mind. There is no politics so-called involved in the growth. There are reduced cost in terms of manpower turnover, operation cost. The advertisement expenses are lesser because customers want to do business with ethical companies. There is enhanced customer loyalty. They refer more clients. So there are testimonials. These are the best forms of publicity for any company rather than the paid advertisements. So overall, the business growth is guaranteed because of ethical practices. And when an organization is unethical or focuses solely on their own interest, it typically reflects. I mean, even how can customers identify unethical organization? There are a lot of manpower turnover. You will see that there are a lot of changes in the relationship managers who come and meet you for advice, or the lot of changes are happening. There are higher charges involved compared to what is there in the industry. There are delayed payments. The TAT or the turnaround time for handling your service queries is delayed. I have experienced where there are organizations where there are exorbitant charges, where now, since you all must be aware of the DMAT and trading account and the Robinhood traders, because of the pandemic, because of free time or various reasons, there are organizations which have targets of as high as 1 lakh per day per broker to be generated from clients. So obviously this leads to mis-selling. Or if you find there is top management where the knowledge is lacking, or there are frequent products or services which are suggested which are not in line with the market situation, then that should raise the alarm bell, and you should know that your finances are not in the right hand. And if you see the current trend, that's the reason there is a lot of shift which is happening towards independent financial advisors or family offices. Now, what happens with these family offices is they stay with you till the end of the investment cycle. That means if there is, say, a product is going to mature after 10 years, 5 years, they're there with you. So unlike a wealth management firm or a private bank, or an investment bank where you have, every time a relationship manager comes, he suggests some product. When the new one comes, he says, no, that's not right. He churns it for you. He suggests a change for you. So now people want to stick to family offices or independent financial advisors who can give a neutral advice, do a homework for you, and can be a single point of contact for you whenever you think of finance, anything. I have customers who call me for anything they want. They trust me to give them a neutral advice, that she will not do something which is in her interest. So I mean, I would like to summarize by saying that, you know, putting ethics first always pays. A ethical business model is definitely a profitable business model and can help you search your career, your profitability the way it has done for me. And since there is a time constraint, I mean, I don't want to, I cannot go in detail, but you all, I would love to connect with all of you over LinkedIn with my name, Neeta Rajendran. You can reach out to me at neeta_Rajendran@yahoo.com. My coordinates are mentioned there, or connect with me on 951-335-4930, my number. Would love to connect with all of you. And any questions, would be happy to take it. Thank you.
I send my own LinkedIn here, just in case we would like to be connected.
Definitely. Would love to.
Thank you so much, Neeta. So I was hearing you and Ilyada, and I was really thinking in my head that how different, when we are in different work sectors, how different perspective we bring on the table. So your way of thinking is totally like from an investment banker's view, and her way of thinking is totally different. So that is why I love these kind of format talks where we can really share our perspective and learn from each other. And so we have actually 2-3 minutes. So we actually can take some questions, just quick questions. So I'll shoot myself because I really don't want to get into the technical stuff and check the comments and all. So I have a question for you, Neeta and Ilyada, first. That what do you think that millennials should do about this ethical practice? I'm not branding them like they don't have ethical practices, but I have seen them that they are in hurry of everything. So is there a quick tip that you have for them?
So I would like to answer this in Kalpana. Millennials, in fact, I think they're very disciplined, if you ask me. Maybe the attention span we think is less, but my personal observation is they're very disciplined. They do their homework well, and like you rightly said, maybe it's always if something can be achieved faster or reached faster,
Right.
more money. But if you want to be there in the long run, if you want to stay for long, then I think to develop that trust, integrity, it's very important to be ethical. Um, that's why in the beginning, as I mentioned, whenever there is a situation and conflict, not when others are watching, or but you know what is right. So if you do the right things, and customers are very savvy now, everything is available. You do Google search, and you know that if somebody is telling something, it's right or not right. So that's given a I mean, people respect organizations which are ethical. If I have to talk from this forum, PC Mustafa, who was a part of Women Economic Forum, very well respected for the way he stands for the brand. Or if we take Tata Group, a very well respected thing, and very simple to see now during this COVID, where I get a lot of requests on a daily basis, people who have lost jobs, and if, they can be placed somewhere. The organizations which are thinking short term in terms of cutting the cost and asking them to leave, these are good talent, very good talented employees who are losing jobs, which is not the right thing to do. If you are staying by with the company, maybe the top management can take some cut in the salary, but ensure the livelihood of the lower level is not affected. I think that is when you will build loyal employees and you will grow in the long run. Otherwise, you will make fast bucks and you will close
Very
down.
true, very true. So I think the key here is patience, a little bit of patience, and I think those guys will reach there. Just a matter of a
Right.
few years. Once they add a few years, they'll reach there. So with this, I'm already running out of time. I had so many questions for Megan and Aurora, but I'm not able to take them. They will personally reach out to you. And I want to give a big thank you to all you ladies for really giving us your valuable time and taking us through this wonderful session. And now it's time for some announcements. I'm thrilled to announce the Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All award, which is conferred at this Global Digital Summit of Women Economic Forum to Iliada Evangelia Kotra as a recognition for the outstanding work that you are doing. And in the same breath, I'm equally thrilled to announce this Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All award that is conferred to Neeta Rajendran at this Global Digital Summit of Women Economic Forum as a recognition for all the inspiring and the fascinating work that you all ladies are doing. And since it's a digital format, this award is also digital and it will reach your mailbox, and further details will also be communicated to you in the due course. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kalpana. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.